the mood is understandably somber. I think part of this, of course, is tribute to the success of the Queen. That one of the things the Queen so successfully did was that she kept the monarchy at the heart of our national life and also at the heart of aspects of Commonwealth life. And therefore, that connection between people and crown is strong. And so with the death of the Queen, people feel, in many cases, a very personal loss. It was a relationship but based on affection, and obviously affection with death always brings sadness and sorrow.
Certainly the embodiment of the nation's history and its image to the world. Matthew, what will happen over the next few days?
I think there will be a lot of questioning, a lot of people saying, what's going to happen, what's happening. Essentially, I guess we will wait for the return of the new king from Balmoral to London. I think we'll see over the next few days that plans will be laid out for what happens in terms of national mourning, and then plans for the funeral. We've seen a tentative date for the funeral. I guess further plans will be released. I would expect the next few days, certainly in this country, but possibly across the world too, to be dominated by tributes to the late Queen.
Indeed, because what she represented was something remarkable, definitely a constant reassuring figure in a fast-changing world for all Britons for decades. And just reflecting on her experience and her impact, the number of presidents that she met and the number of prime ministers that she met, including, of course, Winston Churchill being her first, all the way up to Liz Truss only a few days ago, a sense of duty and obligation all the way until the end.
Yes, and I think, of course, what emerges from any evaluation of the Queen's encounter with statesmen, both at home and abroad, is obviously her political impartiality, the fact that she kept herself absolutely out of the political fray, but also that impartiality was shaped by a sense of respect to politicians of all varieties. So one of the reasons the Queen was so successful as a constitutional monarch is because she treated all political views with the same level of respect and regard, which therefore meant that politicians of different flavours felt that she was trustworthy and that she fulfilled her constitutional function successfully.
And King Charles, now the oldest person to become king in British history, he's expected to address the nation as soon as tomorrow, as you've just heard. What do you expect him to say?
I would expect him to pay tribute to his remarkable mother. I would expect him to give thanks to all of those people who have also paid tribute to the late Queen. I think that what we will see tomorrow is somebody who is acting in that, at this moment, very difficult dual role of new monarch, but also grieving son. And so I think he will thank a nation for the love that people showed the Queen in her lifetime, and also the love that they are expressing now. And he will obviously seek, in what he says, to somehow provide a focal point for feelings of disquiet, unsettlement that inevitably this nation is feeling after having lost somebody who's been a national linchpin for an extraordinarily long time.
And Matthew, there were so many defining moments throughout the course of her reign. Of course, you have been exploring this in your book as a royal biographer. What would you say is the most significant moment, the defining moment for Queen Elizabeth?
I think there were a series of defining moments. And of course, her relationship with the people of this country, but also the people of the Commonwealth, changed over time. It's interesting that there was that extraordinary adulation for the young Queen in the early 1950s. Those astonishing figures who turned out to greet the Queen across the Commonwealth in her huge Commonwealth tour. The fact that a photographer in New Zealand in 1954 could describe her arrival as like the second coming because of the nature of people's response. But her sort of level-headed, refusal to kind of play that in a celebrity way, but to recognize that much of that adulation stemmed from the mystique of the job, and a job that she herself took enormously seriously, and recognize that that adulation was an expression of a bond between crown and people, which over and over and over again she preserved. And we saw it, I think, really most recently in her coronavirus broadcast, where certainly in Britain, she again served to offer reassurance, and to give a kind of steadying, and a sense that for all the 24 million households that tuned into that broadcast, the Queen somehow had something to say to those people personally that would be helpful at that moment.
And humility, dignity, duty, but also, Matthew, a sense of humour that the Queen became quite well known for in the later years of her life.
Yes, I mean, there was a very definite sprightliness, and so much of the footage that we've seen over the last day or so, what we notice is the thing that anybody who met the Queen often referred to, that sort of that twinkle in her eye. I think it was an incredibly successful balancing act, that she took the role of monarch very seriously, but she didn't take herself seriously. She had an intense respect for her royal inheritance. She never doubted what it meant to be royal and what royalty's mission was in the modern world. But she had great personal humility. So she took her duties seriously, whilst bringing a sort of sparkle to them, which of course was also why she enjoyed being Queen so much, and passed on some of that enjoyment and sparkle to other people.